So, what do you do when your grand travel plans for retirement get quarantined by COVID 19? Well, you jump into home projects. In my case, I decided to do most of my own landscaping maintenance, not only to save money in retirement, but because it's such great exercise. Getting outside is a welcomed break these days from the 24-hour news feeds about the coronavirus and the ups and downs of the economy. In this video, I'll document the results of a decision I made to replant an area of our lawn that has never grown much more than weeds and crabgrass. I'm doing this as a test to see how Zenith Zoysia performs in the foothills of western North Carolina. If it does well, I'll take on the rest of the lawn. If not, then it's back to fighting the tall fescue battle. So let's take a look at some of the project details. The area I'm replanting is roughly 1,000 square feet, and there is virtually no shade. And there's certainly no irrigation in that part of the lawn. I've read that Zenith Zoysia does well in low to no shade areas and is very drought tolerant once it's established. Unlike the cool season grasses, Zoysias are best planted in the late spring to midsummer. So I began this project with a plan to seed the lawn by mid-June. On May 26th, I sprayed the existing lawn with grass and weed killer and allowed 2 weeks for Roundup to do its job. My husband broke up the ground with an aerator, and I began removing the existing turf with a hoe and rake. It was wicked good exercise, but I'll be honest, it's not a job I'm going to take on in the future, especially if I decide to do the remaining 10,000 square feet of road frontage. By June 13th, I was ready for topsoil. I had about 8 cubic yards of topsoil delivered, which allowed me to have a base of 2 to 3 inches for seeding the new lawn. When it arrived, it was essentially the consistency of potting soil with lots of organic matter and fertilizer mixed in. And in fact, I'm not even sure what that fertilizer is. And I wasn't sure how it was going to work out, but I decided to proceed. Once the topsoil was down, I spread 2 pounds of Zenith Zoysia seed using a plastic shaker bottle. This allowed me to be more precise with the distribution of the seed than I could be with a typical broadcast or drop spreader. I then took a lawn rake and I lightly tapped the entire 1,000 square foot area to cover the seed. Zenith Zoysia should not be planted more than 1/4 inch deep, and so I was careful to only lightly tap the soil. I then covered the seed lightly with 1 bale of wheat straw and watered the area for 40 minutes. In the week that followed, we had a lot of rain and the daytime temperatures were in the 60s most of the week. Most literature on the Zenith Zoysia says not to expect germination for 14 to 21 days. So I was pleasantly surprised to see all the growth in the video I took on June 21st, just 8 days post-planting. Here are a few of the clumps of zoysia you can see beginning to sprout. You can also see the consistency of the topsoil with all the fertilizer. And of course, some weeds and other grasses are beginning to appear. As week 2 begins, we're expecting temperatures in the high 80s and low 90s with pop-up showers each day. The plan is to water for 30 minutes twice a day in the morning and the evening, unless the rain takes care of it. I'll post weekly updates for the first 4 weeks while the lawn is getting established, and then monthly until the fall when zoysia grasses go dormant. See you next week.